Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of March 14th to the 20th of 2022. Alright, so this week we have a full moon midweek, mid to late week around Friday. And so as we do approach Friday, it will be the more heightened energy of the lunar cycle, gaining some momentum, and then around Friday probably coming to some harvest of the previous 2 weeks, and also making some shifts and changes along the current life path journey. So a good time there of awareness and using that momentum as we do approach that weekend time period. So a lot of the aspects this week, at least the important ones, are concentrated around that later part of the week, around Friday. So on Friday, we do have the Sun sextiling Pluto, which is the full moon trining Pluto. So Pluto is that planet of empowerment and depth and the deeper side of ourselves. And so that's in good harmony actually with this full moon. So with that, we could feel probably quite empowered, maybe making some transformations and changes, facing fears, doing things we normally wouldn't perhaps, could be very supportive there during that full moon sort of time period. Mercury will be also sextiling Uranus around this time. So maybe just a slight stimulating mind, maybe learning some new things, maybe communicating in new and different ways is certainly an opening for that. And then when we do get to Saturday, Venus, the planet of relationship, will be in a challenge with erratic Uranus. So there could be maybe some things outside the comfort zone a little bit that we can do, maybe involving relationships, but just in general to where we are making some changes, doing some different things, getting outside that comfort zone, but doing it constructively, right? Just to make sure things aren't too rash or impulsive with that or too unexpected, seeing how there can be constructive change and also constructive freedom in our values and relationships around Saturday. And then we have Mercury going next to Jupiter, but that's into next week. So let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to start first with Monday, March 14th. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel. Very different from mainstream astrology. If you are new to this channel or haven't explored true sidereal astrology, definitely check out the link down below for more information. We are using the visible sky, which is very different from mainstream forms of astrology. All right, so let's go ahead and just take a quick look here at the aspects. As you can see, a lot of the concentration of energies in the later part of the week. The full moon will be around that late Thursday, but mostly Friday time period for those of us, in the world. And so as we do approach that Friday, we'll likely notice more of that momentum. This is the gibbous phase of the lunar cycle, which is the momentum building phase as we come up to the heightened energy of the cycle around the full moon. So good to approach it, in that way. And let's go ahead and now take a look at each day of the week. But first, let's do a bit of a recap where all the planets are coming into this week. A lot of the sign changes just recently took place last week. And so one of which was the sun entering Pisces. The sun is now well set in Pisces this week. And, collectively, it's about viewing life through the lens of what's important to us on a soul level. And perhaps even doing things that are more soul-fulfilling in our life, or reconnecting to our soul, our spiritual selves, or our deeper emotions, right? And having that peace, that more inner fulfillment. This is great to do this time of the year for what normally is a very long transit of the sun here for about a month and a half, with that large constellation of Pisces in the sky. Now, Mercury has somewhat recently entered Aquarius, so our minds are quite progressive and visionary. I think it's still great to be thinking about global matters, future matters, and how we can maybe induce some change with things, and we'll talk more about that with the sextile to Uranus. And Venus and Mars are now well set in Capricorn, which is all about enjoying and connecting to life in a more, let's say, slow and steady kind of way, a more long-term way. Capricorn's all about patience, persistence, perseverance, all of this. Very good to be enjoying life in this way, connecting in our relationships in that way, and with Mars taking action in this way. So there's that grounding energy. So quite the mix. We have Earth with Capricorn, that productive, constructive, long-term energy. We have the visionary air energy of Aquarius, the vision, the future. and the water energies of the sun in Pisces and that more receptive approach to things. So let's go ahead and start first now with the day by day, starting with the 14th, where the moon's placement will be placing the strongest emphasis since we don't have any major aspects around Monday here. And so in this case, the moon will be finishing Cancer the early part of the day. So early part of Monday is still good for creating that protective environment for ourselves and others, as was the case on Sunday. And so, yeah, maybe home, personal life, family, the past, connecting to our bodies, our emotions, again, protecting for ourselves and others, very good to do. As the day unfolds, however, in the later part of the day, and really for this whole part of the week leading up to Friday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we do have the moon in expressive Leo. So great, early middle part of the week for self-expression. This is where we're noticing the momentum. So anything about, what we love, what we're passionate about, expressing that, doing the things we love, spending time with those we love. Leo is all about expressing our heart. And so hobbies, interests, playfulness, creative energy, doing what we love, fun, entertainment, anything like that is very good to do this phase of the cycle as we approach the full moon. But the full moon will be in Sidereal Virgo, so the main theme will be on balancing that Pisces energy, right? So the sun in Pisces is, of course, that the larger time period is about receptivity, again, doing things more important to us on a soul and spiritual level, and Virgo balances that out. The full moon in Virgo will be about how has our more improvement-oriented side been going, maybe for the past 6 months since the last new moon here. And so working on things, taking care of things, solving problems, taking care of what needs to be taken care of, right? Facilitating, improving. This is great energy to do a status check with around the full moon, and we'll likely, again, come to this awareness of what needs to shift and change so that we can further develop this energy. And of course, I'll make a separate video on the full moon, but full moon's also the harvest of the month energy, of the yearly energy too, of anything you have been putting work and improvement into the past 6 months could certainly be, again, harvesting here as well. But it's a harvest also of the lunar cycle, so the last 2 weeks that we've been developing, and seeing again how we can maybe make some shifts and changes to further develop this improvement-oriented side. And so this full moon will be trining Pluto, and so as you can see here, the sun will be sextiling Pluto, and so same thing, and that's where Pluto is in a good harmony to the sun and moon. And in this case, maybe feeling a bit empowered, a bit transformed, or anything that would normally require facing fears or require empowerment with, we're more willing to do. So it's a great time of this, of feeling empowered and making maybe some transformations and changes, diving deep with things, reconnecting to the deeper side of ourselves and of life, all very supportive with the full moon. And now I didn't mention, as we do approach that full moon, Mercury is going to be sextiling Uranus. It's nothing major, but just know, again, with Mercury in Aquarius, that it is a great week, and maybe particularly around the Thursday time, for using some of that innovative mind. Okay, Mercury and Uranus together is very much, and with the Aquarius, is very much about thinking outside the box, very future-oriented, future-minded, and maybe there's something, an opening. A sextile is an opening, a door opening. We can choose or choose not to walk through, but it's certainly available to maybe mix some things up a little bit. And Mercury could very well be with the routine. What are some things we can change with our routine, mix up, all this very constructive around Thursday, just before that full moon. Okay, and then the full moon is there. Another minor thing, even more minor though, is Venus sextiling Chiron. So again, support from the healing energies, maybe feeling a bit rejuvenated or healed, maybe with some of those relating sides of things with relationships. But really, I think the relationships might be, generally, when I say relationships, I mean all interaction with other. Okay, and so generally that's probably going to be more on the collectively challenging side, because even in Friday, Venus does start to square up to Uranus. And so again, Uranus is that more innovative planet, but in a square, it can be a bit erratic, a bit impulsive, a little bit unexpected. So there's probably the side of ourself, or again, collectively, where we're wanting, or it's time for a little bit of change in our relating life, to get outside the comfort zone and to be non-attached, to allow for change. And the change is what we're normally doing. What is changing is what we're normally doing. And so anything that is outside that comfort zone, right? Outside of the normal way of doing things when it comes to relating with others. It's good to challenge ourselves with, to get outside that comfort zone with, right? And so a good time to do that, to try new things, allow for a little bit of flexibility in the relating sphere of things. And also, Venus is about enjoyments and values, and and so also finances as well with Taurus. And so anything here where, again, it's about listening to a bit of change and freedom and doing it constructively, which is outside the comfort zone, is great. But also, again, just being a little bit, willing to be flexible, just being aware of any impulsive or rash energy there, as squares to Uranus can sometimes bring. But again, it's all for change. It's all for a little bit of really more excitement in our life, to grow and develop in the area of change and excitement, listening to our excitement, but here constructively with relationships and our values. All right, so that's the challenging aspect of the week. And then as we start to get into the later part of the weekend, it starts to dissipate and becomes more integrated here. And all weekend is, of course, the moon in Virgo coming out of that full moon. So great weekend for improvement, refinement in general, as is the case for the full moon, as we said. But all weekend, that's highly emphasized. And not specific on Sunday, but I want to mention it, late Sunday as we get into next week, Mercury will get quite close to Jupiter. So it is a bit of an expansive mind. Mercury is the more practical mind. Jupiter is the more abstract mind. And so as they get closer, there's a nice conjunction there where, maybe we're thinking about things a little bit more expansively, maybe more perceptually. Good time of learning different philosophies, different views of life, and maybe a bit of an adventurous mind, if you will, and communicating things, maybe that deal more with the abstract world could also be good. So a little bit of expansion there with the practical mind, and a little bit of grounding with the abstract mind. Nice balance between the yin and yang of the mind there going into Monday. All right, everyone. So that is the week in a nutshell. Fairly straightforward. It is a full moon week. So as we approach Friday is the harvest of the past 6 months and also of the last 2 weeks of the lunar cycle. A lot of this is about balancing that Pisces energy. It's supposed to be a time of, again, more peace, more inner fulfillment, listening to our unconscious, our dreams, our spiritual self. But of course, that's only useful if it is applicable. And Virgo is all about applying it, making it practical. And so a good time of doing a status check with our routines, with our habits, with our personal development, to have both good spiritual health and physical health, right? And that, I think, is a great way of working with it. There's some openings with these sextiles to maybe mix some things up a little bit with the mind and communication side of things. Some empowerment certainly available with it, and the challenge this weekend around flexibility with our enjoyments and our relationships that we can do constructively there. All right, so everyone, have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a newsletter where you do get these videos released first before YouTube. So do check that out down below if you haven't yet. And thank you again for everything, all of your support with the channel and everything. Have a great week, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.